Hi there, and thank you so much for joining me again. This is my first video in 2026, and I just wanted to start off by wishing you a very happy new year and hoping that you find both the inspiration and the time to make all the music that you ever dreamed of. 2025 was an amazing year for me and this channel, and I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in to see me and making this dream of mine a reality. It has been my absolute pleasure to share with you both the gear and the music, and here's hoping that 2026 is even better. Anyway, today I have the Erica Synths Steampipe on the desk alongside the MPC Live 3 and the Astrolab 37. And in the spirit of January, I want to explore a few of the Steampipe sounds and hopefully end up with some music along the way. Before we start, please know that Erica Synths did send me Steampipe at no cost, but they're not paying me, nor do they have any say in the contents or my opinions in this video. If you happen to be unfamiliar with the Steampipe, it is the physical manifestation of a very popular plugin by the same name, made by Erica Synths in collaboration with the original creators, 112db.com. And even though it looks like a synth, and it has lots of words you might see on a synth, after having it for a while now, I can tell you this thing is very, very different. This is an instrument that behaves in an extremely organic way and reacts to MIDI input in sometimes unexpected manners, very much like a physical instrument where you get variations, for example, like in a guitar, if you put your fingers in certain ways or if you strum it in certain angles. The sounds it makes are varied, but what stands out to me at this point is the way it can emulate wind passing through steel like nothing I've ever heard before. Take, for example, this steam organ, which is one of my favorite presets. If I tap on it gently, you hear those little variations. It's kind of more than velocity because, for example, if I record this MIDI clip, let's say here. See, it has those little variations. Same MIDI input, same velocity, but there's always something a bit different, even with MIDI. Now, this can be either great for you if you're looking for happy accidents, or it can be a bit of a hiccup, which is why I sometimes prefer to record the Steampipe track into audio instead of just relying on MIDI, especially in some of the more wilder presets like that steam organ, just to be sure I don't get any unwanted surprises. Now, luckily, I have the MPC here, so we can just lock down the clip if I want, and I don't have to worry about that at all. Also, the flutes and the pans on this thing are to die for. I mean, let's add some reverb. Now this thing has 5 LFOs, so for example, if you wanted to make this into something a bit more, let's say, vintage, let's mess around with the tuner here. That's a bit extreme. See what we can do with the harmonics. Lovely. So let's make a little jam and see how we can use the Steampipe to orchestrate this. Now, I've been playing around with this little chord progression, and I'm just going to lay down a piano track. That sounds pretty boring, but we're going to add a bit of movement on this next track. So I'm going to duplicate this track. Okay, let's lay down a bit of drums. no repeat. By the way, what you've just seen is my method for making drums, which is basically I just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. There you go, my masterclass of beat making. So let's get into it. Let's go for the Steampipe. Now, even though the Steampipe is very good for winds, it has some very beefy synth presets where full of bottom end, which I didn't expect when I first started using it. Now, this patch, for example, is called Abrasion, and it is very, very chunky. Faster attack. Yeah, that sounds nasty. Let's record that in. Now I'm going to use the Steampipe for what it does best, and those are those nice organic sounding flutes. Let's look for one that makes sense here, and I think I'm going to go for one of my favorites, which is Overflute. Okay, I like that. Let's record that in. Okay, now I want to make a second loop to break free from this progression and start, building up the momentum. So I'm just going to copy my drum track here. Let's go for it. Okay, now that I have that as something to work on, I want to use the Steampipe to add something like a pan, but I want to feel vintagey. And to add a bit more of a vintage sound to this, I am going to use a bit of Air Flavor Pro. And Air Flavor Pro, there it is. Oh, that sounds nice. Let's go again for the Overflute. Okay, but I want a bit of spice in here, so again with a bit of Air Delay Pro. Let's do it. Okay, nice. Now let's add a bit of a counter melody here. And for that, I know just the thing. That's the square lead. Now, you wouldn't think of it of the Steampipe, but it can actually do some very, very nice synth sounds. I want a bit more release here. I gotta say, I'm very happy with this exploration. The Steampipe has been a tough nut to crack in terms of the actual synthesis and getting my head around its very peculiar sound design philosophy, but I have to say that the actual sounds that come out of this thing are absolutely breathtaking. It's an oddball of a machine, but one thing you can always say about Erica Synths is that they're never boring or run-of-the-mill. I'm still a few months away from my final review, and I'll do some more exploring of the Steampipe soon, so I hope you'll join me for that later on. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video useful, or at least entertaining. Have a great week. I'll see you next time.